Final update. My husband's parents insisted I sign a prenup, saying, "This is Adam's house, and you'll leave with nothing." They smugly celebrated after I inherited $22 million, until I handed over the divorce papers and showed them exactly what the prenup said. Part 2. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I called a private investigator. If Adam wanted to play dirty, I'd play smarter. It didn't take long. Within a week, I had photos, videos, proof, Adam with Sophia at hotels, at bars, kissing her, touching her, looking at her the way he hadn't looked at me in years. Perfect. I took the evidence straight to my lawyer. "Ready?" I asked. She smiled. "Let's do this." One evening, Adam came home in a good mood. He kissed my cheek, poured himself a drink, and started rambling about some great business opportunity his father wanted him to invest in. That's when I slid the divorce papers across the table. He frowned. "What's this?" "Read it." He flipped through the pages. His expression changed from confusion to horror. "You're kidding," he said, laughing nervously. I wasn't. He scoffed, shaking his head. "You do realize you'll get nothing, right? I mean, I don't know what kind of lawyer you hired, but the prenup." I pulled out my copy of the prenup, the same one his parents had so proudly forced me to sign. I flipped to the exact clause my lawyer had pointed out, the one that said Adam had no claim to any money or assets I obtained during the marriage. His face drained of color. "This isn't," he started, flipping through the pages like he was hoping he'd find some loophole. "You and your parents made sure I'd leave with nothing of yours," I said. "You just forgot to make sure you'd get anything of mine." Silence. Evelyn and Richard weren't there to help him. There was no backup plan. No last-minute save. He was on his own, and I wasn't finished. I pulled out the envelope. "By the way," I said, voice light, casual, "you might want to look at these." I tossed the photos of him and Sophia onto the table, his affair in high definition. He went completely still. I smiled. "I'll let my lawyer know you've seen everything," I said. "We'll be in touch." Then I grabbed my bag, my keys, and walked out the door, leaving Adam alone in his house, the house I no longer had to pretend was my home. And I wasn't done yet. I didn't hear from Adam that night or the next morning. Then Evelyn called. Not Adam, not his father, his mother. I stared at my phone, watching her name flash across the screen. I let it ring. Then again. Then a third time. Finally, I picked up. "How could you do this to Adam?" I almost laughed. "Do what? Leave him? Divorce him? Expose him for cheating? You are ruining his life?" She snapped. "And for what? Some petty revenge?" "Oh, this was rich. You forced me to sign a prenup. You made it clear I was nothing in your family, and now you're mad because I'm leaving. You're destroying him." "No," I said calmly. "I'm just letting him face the consequences of his own actions." She went silent for a second. Then, in a lower, sharper tone, she said, "You'll regret this." And then she hung up. I leaned back, exhaling. Oh, so that's how they wanted to play it. Fine. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. Then my lawyer called. "They're contesting the prenup." I blinked. "What?" "They're trying to claim it should be nullified on the basis of unfair circumstances." I burst out laughing. Unfair. They had written the damn thing. But Evelyn and Richard weren't stupid. They were powerful. They had connections. They had money. And now that they knew Adam was walking away with nothing, they were scrambling to find a way to stop it. But I had expected this. I had prepared for this. And I had one more card left to play. The day of our court hearing arrived. Adam, Evelyn, and Richard showed up with 3 lawyers. I showed up with mine, and a forensic accountant. See, while they were busy trying to find a way to take my money, I was busy digging into theirs. And what I found? Shady business deals, tax fraud, hidden assets. Evelyn and Richard had been cooking their company's books for years, and now I had all the documents, the proof, and the receipts. So, when their lawyer smugly tried to argue that the prenup was unfair, my lawyer leaned forward, placed a thick stack of papers on the table, and said, "Before we get into that, Your Honor, we have something to present." I watched as Evelyn's face lost all color. Richard stiffened. Adam just looked confused because he had no idea what was happening. Then the judge flipped through the documents, looked up, and said, "Mr. and Mrs. Carter, do you understand the gravity of what I'm looking at?" Evelyn physically swayed in her seat. Richard's jaw clenched. "Adam?" He still hadn't figured it out. "Your company has been engaging in financial misconduct," my lawyer continued. "And given that Adam is also listed as an executive, he may be implicated as well." That's when Adam finally spoke. "What?" "No, I don't handle finances." "I don't." He turned to his parents. "Mom, Dad." But they weren't looking at him. They were looking at me because they finally understood. I wasn't just leaving. I wasn't just taking my money and walking away. I was taking them down with me. Everything unraveled fast. The judge refused to throw out the prenup. My inheritance remained mine alone. But Evelyn and Richard? They were suddenly facing a full-scale financial investigation. Adam, well, his name was on several of those fraudulent transactions. Whether he actually knew what was going on didn't matter. On paper, he was involved. And that meant he was under investigation, too. The house, gone. The business, frozen. The reputation they had spent years protecting, shattered. And me? I walked away. Wealthy. Free. Untouchable. Evelyn's last words to me echoed in my head. You'll regret this. No, Evelyn. You will. Adam tried calling me over and over. First, he was angry. You set me up. You ruined my life. Then he was desperate. We can fix this. Just talk to me. Then he cried. I ignored every single call. Evelyn and Richard? They had bigger problems. The IRS was all over their company. Investigators were freezing their accounts, tearing through their records. Their friends, the rich and powerful people they had spent years impressing, were nowhere to be found. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that they were forced to sell their Rancho Santa Fe mansion to cover legal fees. And Adam, with his parents drowning, had nothing left. The house I had once lived in, the one they had sworn I'd never get, foreclosed. The money they thought would always protect them, gone. The reputation they valued more than anything, destroyed. And me? I was finally free. Months later, I got a call from a familiar number. Sophia? Yes, that's Sophia. Adam's mistress. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity won. She sounded furious. You're TCH. You know that, she snapped the second I answered. I leaned back in my chair, smiling. I assume Adam didn't tell you everything. Silence. Then a bitter laugh. He's broke. I said nothing, letting her vent. He told me we'd start a new life together. That we'd have money, a house, everything. But after your little court stunt, he's got nothing. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Instead, I let out a soft hum. So, what do you want me to do about it? Her voice turned sharp. He's your husband. I laughed. Not anymore. Then I hung up. I don't think about Adam much anymore. But I did hear through the grapevine that after everything collapsed, he moved back in with his parents. Except this time, it wasn't in a luxury estate. It was in a rented condo with no company, no wealth, no reputation. And me? I moved into my own beachfront house in La Jolla, paid in full. No in-laws, no controlling husband, no one telling me I was lucky to be included in their world.